You know that feeling, right? Where your team is just busy. Everyone is running around, tasks are getting done, emails are flying, but at the end of the day, you're not totally sure what all that activity is really adding up to. Well, in this explainer, we're going to talk about OKRs, a framework designed to turn all that busy work into real, measurable impact.
Right? I mean, let's just park here for a second because this feeling is everywhere. You look around and the whole office is a hive of activity. But when you step back and try to point to a major win, it can be surprisingly tough. It's that classic trap of confusing activity with actual progress.
So the answer to this activity trap is a deceptively simple framework called OKRs. It stands for Objectives and Key Results. And listen, this isn't some brand new corporate fad. This thing was born at Intel and then made famous at places like Google, where it helped them achieve some pretty explosive growth by getting everybody, and I mean everybody, pulling in the exact same direction.
Now, what's so great about OKRs is how simple the whole thing is when you break it down. It really just comes down to answering two fundamental questions. Where are we trying to go? And just as important, how will we know for sure that we're actually getting there?
So the framework has just two parts. You've got your objective, that's the what. It's the big, ambitious, inspirational goal that gets people fired up. Think of it as the destination on your map. And then you have your key results, that's the how. These are the specific, measurable, time-bound metrics that prove you're on the right track. They're like the mile markers on the highway, confirming you're actually headed towards your destination.
And here's the magic. The entire framework can be boiled down into this single, powerful sentence. I will achieve this objective as measured by these key results. That's it. This simple little grammar is the glue that connects your huge ambition directly to concrete, measurable actions. And this quote from Marissa Mayer absolutely nails the most important part about key results. They have to have a number. There's zero room for fuzzy language. You can't just say your goal is to improve customer happiness. No, you have to say, increase our net promoter score from a 42 to a 55. You either hit the number or you don't. It's that simple. Okay, so once you have that basic structure, this is where things get really interesting. John Doerr, the guy who brought OKRs to Google, calls these the 4 superpowers, the core benefits that really do transform how a company works.
First up is focus and commit. Because you can only have a few OKRs, it forces you to make tough calls about what really matters right now. Next, they help you align and connect. All of a sudden, everyone in the company can see exactly how their day-to-day work connects to the company's biggest goals. It creates this incredible sense of shared purpose. The third superpower is track for accountability. OKRs aren't something you set and forget. You talk about them all the time, creating this rhythm of data-driven check-ins. And finally, my personal favorite, they help you stretch for amazing. This framework literally gives teams permission to set these crazy, ambitious, moonshot goals that push the boundaries of what they even thought was possible.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking, hang on a second, this sounds an awful lot like the KPIs my team already uses, well, you're not alone. That is a super common question, so let's clear up the difference right now because it's a really important one.
Let's use a car analogy. It makes it super clear. Think of your KPIs, your key performance indicators, as your car's dashboard. They're measuring the health of your engine, your business as usual. Is your fuel level okay? Is the engine temperature normal? They're your warning lights. Your OKRs, though, they're the roadmap. They aren't just telling you how things are running, they are guiding you to an ambitious new destination, a place of serious change or growth, and you absolutely need both to get where you're going. And that idea of setting an ambitious destination, well, that leads us to one of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood parts of the whole OKR philosophy. Because this isn't just about setting goals, it's about setting truly ambitious ones. And that completely changes how you think about success. So at the end of a quarter, you grade your key results on a scale from 0 to 1. But here's the wild part. The goal isn't always to get a perfect 1.0. Nope. For those big, hairy, audacious goals, the stretch goals, the sweet spot is actually hitting around a 0.6 or a 0.7. That grade means you made incredible progress on something that was really, really hard. And this is the key cultural shift. If your teams are hitting 1.0s on everything quarter after quarter, that's actually a huge red flag that you're not pushing hard enough. You're playing it safe. In a healthy OKR culture, getting a lower score on a moonshot goal is never a reason to get in trouble. It's just valuable data. It's what you learned for the next attempt. All right, so of course, like any powerful tool, it's pretty easy to mess it up at first. So to help you get started on the right foot, let's quickly run through the most common traps that teams fall into. First up, confusing outputs with outcomes.
Your goal is not launch 3 new features. It's increase user retention by 15%. One is a task, the other is the result you actually want. Next, don't set too many goals. If you have more than 3 to 5 objectives, you're just spreading everyone too thin. Now, this next one is huge. Do not tie OKR scores to bonuses. The second you do that, you kill all ambition. People will just set easy, lowball goals they know they can hit. And finally, please don't set it and forget it. OKRs are a living, breathing tool you should be talking about every single week.
To see how this all comes together, just look at this legendary OKR from YouTube. Their objective was to increase user engagement. Now, they could have measured something easy, like number of clicks, but instead, their key result was to reach 1 billion hours of daily watch time. That single outcome-focused goal was totally transformative. Why? Because it forced the entire company to rethink everything, from video quality to recommendation algorithms, all focused on one thing: keeping people genuinely glued to the screen.
So look, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. OKRs are not just another corporate process you fill out on a spreadsheet. When you do them right, they are a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's a new way of thinking about focus, about alignment, and about what your team is truly capable of when you work together.
And that brings us to the final question, one I want you to take back to your team. What is that big, ambitious, maybe even seemingly impossible goal, that moonshot, that you could actually achieve if you had the focus and alignment to really go for it? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.